Alright guys, Crib Stern 88 here. Welcome back to another video. Let me get into a certain area. Feels good today. It's March. It's very sunny and not cold at all. It's 61 degrees actually. I think that's nice. This is the first time it's been 61 degrees in 2020 in my area. So kind of happy about that. And it's also Wednesday, but I'm not talking about that. You guys know how I feel about that. I think, I'm all for men and women's rights to equality, all 100% of that, but it's just, it's frustrating to see this, shoved in my face, and that's about all I'm gonna say on that. See if this works now. I'm trying to listen to music, but it's not. My phone is not loading for some reason. Not this one, but my other one. One that I have mobile dealer. Okay, yeah, it's not working for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways, I don't know, my phone always does that. It's either connected or not. But anyways, I kind of want to talk about one big question that atheists would have towards a Christian. And this is a really big question that some people feel a pressure to get wrong or right. Some people feel much pressure on this question. At least I have throughout the past years, and it kind of led me to my own conclusions. There's many different ways I could go about answering this, but one way I want to start this off is kind of like a big kind of counter, I guess, to this. And so the question, I don't think I really brought it up yet, but the question is, why does God allow for bad things to happen? If he is such a good God, or if he's in control in any of this. And a lot of it boils down to knowing who God is, and stop with your assumptions of, or what you hear from other people, who you think God is. And also, one thing to keep in mind, well, never mind, that's part of another answer, but one of the big things is, why does God allow bad things to happen? First off, people start naming off things like poverty, hungry, starving children in Africa, homeless veterans. They'll go on with that. And to that, I want to mention. First off, I just want to say that there is things being done about this, and it's not just God's choice to do these things. I mean, it's not God's job to take care of these things whenever we're on earth. If maybe the whole world was in poverty or in suffering, one of the two, then yeah, maybe I can see where your question is. But there's America. I mean, here we are donating our own money to other parts of the world for them to get on their feet, to help them. But the big thing is about it, it's donation based. It's organizational. It's organizations that are going out and doing these things. And there's Christians, missionaries that go out to Africa and actually help these people. So in a way, yeah, Christians are doing that. They're putting into action God's will. So the next thing is, what do you even define as good and bad? See, we found this very clear in the book of Genesis, that man chose for ourselves to define what's good and evil. And we know this because it's in Genesis. And so, what you define as good and evil is different from what God sees as good and evil. So, I just kind of want to bring that up to you. So, like I said, what you define good from evil is way different from what God sees. I don't know why this ain't playing. Maybe turn the volume up. Oh, what the heck? I don't know. But what you define, like I said, what you define as good and evil is completely different from what God defines as good and evil. And that's what the big thing that atheists will not understand. And probably choose not to understand. Like a lot of this stuff, it's an easy counter, but they just don't choose to accept it. So it doesn't matter how good of an argument you can make, an atheist will just shut it down using anybody's argument that doesn't even make any sense. They'll use that to shut a Christian's argument down. Or, I mean, it might make sense, I don't know. Just sometimes, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. There's somebody that brought up a question to me. I answered it. They brought up a counter to it. I was like, what? So anyways, yeah, like I said, that's one of the biggest answers to that. And another one, again, they'll bring up, why is there death? And this, again, is one of those things that an atheist will just simply not understand. To God, death means nothing. So what you're saying is death. Well, to God, it's nothing. And this is clear in the Bible where Jesus speaks. He says, let me try to remember here. He talks about Lazarus, bringing Lazarus from the dead right there. That also goes to show how meaningless death is to God, that he just brings people back from the dead. Like, Jesus just brought him back from the dead like it was nothing. And he says, oh yeah, and there he was talking about, he says, our friend Lazarus sleepeth. Let me go that I may wake him. And the disciples were confused. They say, if he sleeps, he's doing well. And Jesus responds with, heard something. But Jesus responds with, that, talking about his death here. He's dead. That's paraphrasing. I'm just kind of distracted. He says, he's dead, but I'm going to go. And I'm going to bring him back. Like, he says, I want to go that I may wake him. So yeah, that just goes to show that death has no meaning to God. All it is just a gateway to heaven or hell. And some atheists, this ain't a topic for this video. Some atheists will say, well, why does God allow hell? I mean, again, you're not God. You don't define what's good and evil. You don't know why there is a hell. That basically goes back to sin. But anyways, going back to the main topic at hand, death. Why it's a thing, even. Excuse me. Well, most atheists, that's where they start to stop believing God. And to me, that's where my strength in God kind of was renewed. Whenever I found my faith in God, not strength. But one of my family members died well, not very recently, a few years ago. And it kind of struck me really, really bad. And I just didn't know how to deal with it. I was laughing and crying all at the same time. And I tried not to let people see my emotions. I just kind of kept a smile. And one of the big things is that the preacher said, hold on, he said that we'll see her again in heaven one day. And I was like, that's right. I will see her again. Because she was saved. I know that for a fact by the way she talked and just lived. She was a Christian, and I knew that. She was my Bible school teacher, actually. And that just kind of made me, remember that God is in control. I want to see God again. Or I want to see God, and I want to see my family again. And the only thing that's bad is knowing that I have family members that are atheists or, just simply not Christians, and that will end up in hell one day. And that's the only thing that I can bear not to think about, and so I don't think about it. And that is the hardest thing to think about. So let me tell an atheist this: you've basically just by your disbelief in God from a death, you just ruined your chances of seeing them again. I want you to realize that. But you can't. I know. Okay, a Christian will be like, "Well, you shouldn't say that. That's just rude. That's just judgmental." Listen, you can see them again if you're saved. But if you're going to continue on the path of being an atheist, you're going to go to hell. That's just simple truth. Um, that's what not a lot of people want to hear either. Like that's why atheists will make fun of Christians that say, "Oh, you're going to hell," all this stuff. Like, yeah, you're going to hell. It's not nothing I would be joking about if I knew the truth, or if I didn't know the truth, or whatever. Well, I do know the truth, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's not nothing I'd be joking about. And I know deep down atheists really want to believe in God, want to believe in heaven, but they just can't. I don't know what about it. I don't know what about an atheist just don't. They know. I know within their thoughts, within their thinking, within their eyes, I can see that they want to believe in God, but I just don't know why they don't. Abandon science for once, for 1 second, and just go to a church, talk to the preacher. Like, you don't have to go to church and, take in everything that they're saying and yada yada yada, but talk to a preacher, because usually that's the best part, or that's whenever you start to feel Jesus, whenever you go to a church. Sometimes it just takes a sermon, but for some people I heard, it just it's just simply being in the church. Some people after church, they'll talk to a preacher, or before church, and it's just there. It's simple, made plain as day. So yeah, one big thing about that I don't get why an atheist won't just simply give it a shot, give it a chance. Trust me, I gave science a chance. A second, I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to science. I want to see what science has to say before I before I continue with my religion. Okay. And a lot of Christians are like, that's not a religion. It's not. Okay, it's life. It's the true way of life. But I'm just saying religion for atheist understanding. Yeah, before I even continued, I was like, I want to give science a second. I want to give science a chance. I want to see what it says. And I actually looked, and there's a lot of Christian scientists talking about these points of view from atheists, and it kind of disproved them. Like, even thinking about it, even thinking about evolution, the deeper I think about it, the more less, the less it makes sense to me. I mean, seriously, just think about it. Like, you go from a single cellular organism. The point of evolution is for reproduction and to fight death, basically. Fight the survival of the fittest. But if you look at every organism on life, it has a lifespan. Sometimes it's cut short, sadly and tragically, and sometimes it's just simply not. So yeah, everybody, everything, every living thing, these trees will die one day. So yeah. That's one thing you need to kind of think about whenever you're going to the evolution. Evolution is not. We're not trying to be immortal. That's how a lot of people make evolution out to be. They're like, hey, it's immortal. You're basically trying to become immortal, and that's just kind of paraphrasing a little. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, they're fighting for reproduction purposes and survival of the fittest. Well, if you really want to think about that for a second, that kind of makes no sense. I mean, it really don't. The Big Bang, okay, we're not going to get into that one. But the evolution, just going from a single cellular organism somehow to this, doesn't make any sense to me. See, we are a very complex, cellular, multicellular organism. Like, we have red blood cells, brain cells, white blood cells. I'm pretty sure we have lung cells. We have skin cells, eye cells, hair cells, basically. I know that some of the stuff I'm saying, like hair cells and lung cells, aren't exactly what they are called. I'm just saying that at the basic molecular level, yeah, we are like this, and my lips, my teeth, my zits. Disgusting, I know. They all have like a cell to them. Trees have cells to them. And for you to go from a single cellular organism to this, this doesn't make sense to me. Even over the course of trillions of years, it just doesn't make sense to me. I've even tried making it make sense, it just simply don't. So yeah, there's my answer, and a little bit more information of some random stuff. But that's my answer of why God allows bad things to happen, like a choice. Okay, and real quick, I want to get into drunk drivers. God didn't decide for that drunk man to step in the car before driving. Okay, that was that guy's decision. I want you guys to realize that wasn't God's decision, just as much as it was, Adam and Eve's decision to eat the fruit. It wasn't God's. It wasn't Satan's. It was Adam and Eve's decision that doomed us all and allowed death. So that's just kind of one quick way to answer that. And a lot of atheists will argue about free will. I want to say this real quick before I really go. Even if God had scripted us and all this, and free will didn't exist, wouldn't you think that maybe we all would? It would make sense that we would all believe in God, right? I'm just saying. That just kind of makes no sense to me. Why God would, if free will doesn't exist, why wouldn't God just, why wouldn't we all just believe in God? So there's kind of how I see that. Anyways, I'll see you all later. Goodbye.